Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Did She Just Say Chakra? We are again excited to be here today and talking about like one of the coolest things I've discovered lately. You actually discovered it and started talking to me about it.
And I mean, I didn't discover it, but I shared it with you.
Yes,
maybe.
Yes. And researching about like what we should talk about for podcasting, Stacy was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm learning so much cool stuff about the vagus nerve," and I kind of knew a little bit, but this is like crazy cool stuff and so impactful to understand what it means, right? Or what it is.
Yep. How it impacts us and how it can help us in our journey to be healthier and our well-being.
Yeah. So just to start out, we're going to kind of explain to you what the vagus nerve is, because it's cool in that it is the only nerve that starts in your head and goes all throughout the body. So it starts in the head, goes down through the ear, down past the lungs, through the chest, into the, like, by the liver, and then all encompassing in your digestive system. I mean, it affects pretty much every organ that you can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it hits your heart, your lungs, spleen,
liver, kidneys,
stomach,
gallbladder,
everything.
Intestines. Yeah, it's crazy.
Some actually call it the soul of your body.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another interesting thing when I was researching is they called it, it's not a surviving nerve, it's a thriving nerve.
Oh,
which I think I think that tells a lot about it. But it's so interesting how it works, because it communicates a lot to the body, but that's like 15% that it communicates to the body, but 85%, I think, and I hope this is right, I hope I'm communicating this right, but 85% of the organs in the body and the communication comes from the body to the vagus nerve, and then the vagus nerve decides how to respond to that information. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I think the most important thing that we need to talk about first maybe is how it is involved with the parasympathetic nervous system, the PSNS.
And I'm going to have Nicole talk about this because she's really good at explaining the difference between the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. So will you just make sure that we're really clear on the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system and the function that they play within our body?
Yeah. So the sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight. So it's you're going out, you're hunting for food, and all of a sudden this animal comes up and scares you, and your body goes into fight or flight. It goes to protect everything that's important to you. So you lose like the major, the recovery, the rest and digest, the body relaxing. It's the exact opposite. Your body is in stress mode. It's in fight or flight mode. So that's sympathetic, which stress, SS, sympathetic stress.
Okay.
The opposite end of that is the parasympathetic, where we rest, we digest, we recover, our body slows down. All of our, it's a lot of times what we're doing at night while we're sleeping, but it's also the reason why we try to calm through breath work or yoga or whatever during the day, because it brings our body into that relaxed state where it can recover and heal.
So the vagus nerve really is responsible for digestion, blood pressure, heart rate.
Yes.
I mean, really all of those functions. I wonder why we don't talk about it as much. I mean, I wonder why that's not really more commonly talked about then.
I think because, this is just my opinion, but it seems like they're just starting to learn more about the vagus nerve and how much of a role it plays. And because it impacts so many organs, and especially our digestive system, which houses our immune system, it just impacts so many things. But I think they're still unpacking that and figuring out, what is the depth of it, and how do we help to activate it or heal it, or
right,
which is it's so crazy how things evolve, right? I was listening to a podcast to talk about the vagus nerve, or to learn about the vagus nerve, and it was all around, interestingly enough, like heart rate variability in the heart, but then she transitioned into the vagus nerve from there. And the reason why she had started learning about the vagus nerve was because she literally could not poop. Like, she was her body was failing. She couldn't poop, and it was affecting so many things. Like she had chronic inflammation. She was so super tired. Like she slept, except for like 3 hours. She felt miserable when she was up, and no doctors could figure out what was going on. Like she's literally said she went to 55 doctors, and yeah, she said 55 doctors in 3 years, and I'm not saying that like in this particular case the doctors couldn't figure it out. There's so many good things that doctors do, but in this particular case no one could figure it out. And she was like an optometrist or something like that, and she's like, okay, I'm just going to study, like I'm going to try to look at all the symptoms together, which I think that's so interesting, see how some of them are clustered together, and looking at those clusters, where's the root of those symptoms or those clusters, or what would affect those clusters. And she was looking at like digestion, neurotransmitters, bile in the gallbladder. She reverted it back to the vagus nerve, and like took her 3 years. She said it was 3 years of hell, but 3 years to figure that out. And then once she fixed that, you know, like the way the body communicated and supported the vagus nerve, then all of her symptoms started to dissipate. And I was like, oh my gosh, that just gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Like, where is this, you know, how many people is this going to impact? Because I feel like stress, I feel like is the thing that impacts your health the most. Mm-hmm. People that are coming in to see me for nutrition, like a lot of them are just so stressed. And so I feel like learning about the vagus nerve and talking about the vagus nerve like we're doing today is going to be so impactful because of its relation to, you know, calming down that stress, learning to manage that. And just, again, simple ways, like we're going to talk about simple ways to activate the vagus nerve. But
well, and I think it's important to recognize too, it doesn't mean stress like you work in an emergency room and you're constantly like in fight or flight, right? Like your body holds stress from 15 years ago. So, you know, stress can be compounded over time or stress can be in the moment. But I think sometimes stress gets a misunderstanding of what stress is. So keep that in mind as we're talking about it. You might be like me and think, well, I'm not stressed out right now, but your body still can be in stress.
Right, and it's the subconscious. This is what the vagus nerve is in charge of, right? It's the autonomic nervous system. The part that we really, it's involuntary. Mm-hmm. It's the things that we do that we don't even realize that we're doing, and that's what the vagus nerve impacts or has to do with. And when you're talking about stress, there are 4 major types of stress that affect the vagus nerve. They're emotional, psychological, biochemical, and there's one more. Physical. Yeah. So physical, biochemical. When I say biochemical, I'm talking about foods, toxins, viruses, bacteria.
That's big right now too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people are talking about that right now, right? Like what we eat, and what we put into our body. And I think that even is fair to say, like, what we see, what we watch, what we ingest, whether that's with our eyes or our mouth, right?
Yes, all of those things. Social media, the things where I just had this conversation with my kids, like, what are you watching on social media? Because that is a huge stressor. If you're seeing all the negative things and you're clicking on those things and then they continuously pop up, this is constant stress on your body. Stop looking at that stuff. Look at the good things that are going on in the world and filter out the other stuff. And I'm not saying we don't need to know what's going on in the world, but we don't need to know to the extent that social media tells us.
We've talked a lot about gratitude on our podcast so far this year, and I think it's important to recognize that there is so much science behind gratitude, and really focusing on, if you focus on the good things in life, if you really ingest, whether that's by eating good foods or seeing good things or focusing on good things, there's a lot of science behind that. So remember that as we continue on throughout our work.
Well, and I think the other thing, like in regards to that, is talking about with the vagus nerve, it not only is like immune, it's not only immune, blood, things like that, but it's also like dopamine, serotonin levels, things that really affect our moods and anxiety and things like that. So I don't know. There's just, it's like limitless what the vagus nerve impacts.
We want to be really intentional about how we tone our vagus nerve. And remember, it doesn't necessarily, when we talk about being calm, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're being chill and, really laid back. Toning our vagus nerve can really mean a lot of different things. And one of the ways that we bring awareness to that is through breath work, through massage and touch, through humming and singing, and through our voice. So I'm just going to share just a couple things that we encourage you to try over the next few days and see what works best for you. When we bring awareness to our breath, we really are intentional about the breath work that we do. So just spend, 90 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever time you might have, and focus on that breath work. So we bring in that awareness through our in and our out. And maybe you need to actually use your hand as you do it. We're bringing in and out. And by bringing awareness to our breath, we're being intentional about our intake and our outtake. So really following that pattern, in and out, bringing that awareness.
And I think as you're, like a little add-on that you can do is as you're exhaling, like thinking in your brain, I'm exhaling anything that does not serve me in the highest light. Any traumas, any emotions, any stresses, any ailments that are in the body, just let them go and release them through the breath and allow the body to relax. I think that's just, I like to say that as I'm doing that extended breath work, that intention.
Fully relax the body, right? Let your shoulders drop, let everything settle down. Massage. So you might actually massage right along the side of your spinal cord here in the back, or anywhere along the back of your neck, your skull. Bringing that touch. Humming and singing uplifts the energy naturally. So by humming, singing, what's it called? That type of a sound. Humming and singing naturally slow down the cadence of your breath, and it helps you feel safe. So think about, anytime we're in worship, we're singing and we're joyful. Even in times of sorrow, we're bringing song and into the space. So just thinking about that and how we can naturally bring that into our day, to our everyday. Cold showers also help. And I'm not saying you take a 60-minute shower, but maybe you're taking a 30-second cold shower followed by warm water. That helps to tone the vagus nerve. Chanting. Om is a very common chant that people use. And when we do that Om, we're toning that vagus nerve as well. Laughter activates that parasympathetic nervous system. So thinking about laughter in a way, how can you bring laughter into your everyday? Meditation, journaling. What is it that you're going to focus on this week to bring ways to tone your vagus nerve? Yes. So we talked a little bit about somatics in previous episodes. When you think of somatics, what is something that you think of when you think of somatics, Nicole?
Somatics, if I had to sum it up, and I'm not an expert on most things, but I'm not an expert on somatics, but somatics to me is movement and release. It's like the combination of both of those, which are so healing to the body. Mm-hmm. Like if we can move, even with the vagus nerve, if you're sitting all the time, your vagus nerve is not moving around, it's not stimulated, you're not moving the neck around, things like that, then your body is stagnant, right? And so movement, but then also releasing the traumas, the physical pain, the emotions that we hold in our body. How am I doing?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, you expand more.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. I think that somatics really is that. It's sometimes slow movements that help to release the traumas, release the stored stresses that are in our bodies that need to be expelled.
And you've really been working on this, haven't you? Like you've been diving deep into this with your own body.
I have been. And what I've been told, and it's no secret that I'm carrying a lot of extra weight, protection, if you want to call it that. And what I've really discovered is that I have to let go before I can let go, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So my body, actually, I had a massage recently, and we really worked on an area in my shoulder of trauma, untold stories, or untrue stories, I guess is probably a better way to say it. But really letting that go in order to let other areas release. And toning that vagus nerve by, I think we talked, you even mentioned it when you walked in, right? Like humming.
Yes.
I laugh. My grandfather, is very important to me. And he always used to say, like, put your tongue at the roof of your mouth. And I always thought he was a little bit, out in left field sometimes. But really, I think he was ahead of his time when he was doing that. And he knew that by doing that, he was stimulating something good in his body. And that's true. So humming, singing, singing is one of the best things that you can do for your body. Yes. Humming, singing, what else? Oh, that type of a noise. Any of those things that kind of activate that sound or that feeling in your body.
It's interesting, but like another one with the vagus nerve specifically, and not just the nervous system, is gargling. Like, that's one of the biggest things they talked about. This lady was like, growing up, or no, actually, this was a man. Anyway, growing up, their dad like constantly was gargling, and like every day gargling, and it was so like stressful to the child. And like, why do you always do that? And he's like, well, it's just great for the body or whatever. Yeah. And then later, fast forward 20 years when they're doing studies on the vagus nerve, and gargling is one of the biggest things, because the vagus nerve kind of lies in the auricle or the inner ear. And so if you're really gargling, it's vibrating that. And it's how crazy simple and cool is that? Humming, toning, gargling is just going to activate that communication from the vagus nerve to the body, and then it responds. Like you said, sometimes it's not that we need to relax, sometimes we need a little bit of stimulation, but that communication of, okay, what does the body, like, from the vagus nerve, but also from the body to the vagus nerve, about what it needs and how it needs to respond.
Somatics are good just to continue to tone and move the body, release some of that energy, and feel good about it.
Yeah, it provides so many benefits, right? The relaxation, the movement, because a lot of times if we're not moving, even just simple moving, even just stretching, twisting, cat-cow, like things like that, where heart openers, like when you're doing that, those are just simple forms of somatic movement, but they have huge impacts on vagus nerve and calming the nervous system. A few other ones that I just want to briefly mention would be acupuncture, because it's just kind of a way to help the body with that communication that we talked about. Acupuncture, it opens up, or I don't know exactly how acupuncture works, but it's really looking at the meridians and the energy flow of the body, and those points are activating different things in the body. And I'm sure a lot of those points are points that affect the vagus nerve. And then acupressure, like if anyone has grabbed a book on acupressure, that is one of the easiest things that you can do for lymphatics, for vagus nerve, and acupressure is just, you learn the points, whether it's points on your feet, on your hands, which are really the main two I would focus on with acupressure, but just where we can focus on the hands and the feet. And my naturopath, Dr. Varco, every time I leave the office, she's giving me certain points on the feet. Like if my liver is in distress, like there's certain points on the feet where if you just touch and you activate that, same as acupuncture does, it just activates that part of the body, and it communicates to the body that this area needs more love. And so that communication, I think, is one of the most important things I learned about the vagus nerve. Like communication from the body to the brain, so that the brain knows what to do, how to heal the body. Do we need to up the sympathetic nervous system? Do we need to regulate the parasympathetic? Do we need to have more blood flow to certain areas? Do we need to relax the digestive system? It's like crazy the amount of communication that there is, and then how the body or how the brain reads that so it can do the right thing. That also makes me think of like, okay, if the brain is activating the right things, if the vagus nerve is functioning properly, then at this point you can really listen to your body, right? We need to listen to what our bodies need. So whether it's certain foods or sleep or movement with somatics, like what is it that our body needs? And if it's functioning properly, we should be able to listen to that inner guidance. And I think a lot of people don't pause, as we talked about in prior episodes. Sometimes we just need to pause and like ask our body, what does it need right now? And if it's sleep, then sleep. Or if it's somatic movement, because we need to release all those pent-up emotions. I really feel it's important to, once our body is communicating better and properly and doing the right things to heal, then we're also listening to the body and listening to that guidance and getting quiet and tapping into that guidance and then responding in a positive way.
My somatic yoga instructor, Pam, she says, watch an animal get up. I don't know that there's any mammal that gets up and doesn't do a full-on stretch before they actually move.
Yes,
right?
That's so true.
Except for us. So really think about that when you're getting up, stretch and move and, release that energy before you take off for your next task or activity.
Yeah, and what are the benefits of, I think we just kind of close out this podcast by talking about, okay, what are the benefits of focusing on activating the vagus nerve and, recognizing whether the body needs to be in, a more relaxed state or more energized state, or just what the body needs. Like, what are the benefits if we put in the work and do the breath work or the somatic movement or the things we talked about, the gargling, the humming, the toning. And by the way, like, how does toning or humming or singing make you feel?
Well, I mean, I don't like to do it in public so much, maybe yet, but
like when you're singing at home or you're listening to
oh my god,
music,
it feels so amazing. Yeah. Miley Cyrus Flowers right now, it just makes my heart like sing.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's a good one. I might have to listen to that on the way home.
Yeah, especially in the car. I mean, I am like a rock star in the car. So you can see me driving around.
I know. I'm the same way. Shut my door in the bathroom in the morning.
Yes.
Listen to a good song, or like when I'm getting ready, and shifts my mood like that. Helps stimulate the vagus nerve. You're doing so many good things just by taking 5 minutes to listen to a good song and shift that mood. And then, okay, so the major benefits that we can talk about, do you want to focus on those, or do you want me to work through those?
I mean, increased energy, I think that's huge. Better digestion, less pain, inflammation. What am I forgetting?
Yeah, reduce stress, reduce anxiety.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, so many. And I think the other thing is, even if you are, like, if you're not sick or if you one of those people that are listening to this and you're like, I don't have these issues, I feel great. Athletic performance, like that's another one. Like, this is huge to peak your athletic performance, because it's working to heal the muscles, and it's working with all things in the body. So if you're really looking to enhance your athletic performance, learn about the vagus nerve.
Tone your vagus nerve.
That's right.
Come sing with us.
Well, no. I don't want to sing with anybody. I'm the same way as you. I just want to sing by myself. I have no idea. It makes me think of, I wonder what I sound like to other people. Do you ever listen to someone sing and you're like, oh my gosh, that's terrible? Like,
never!
No?
Never! I'm always like, rock it, girl. Get it. Guy.
I'm like, oh, I feel so bad for them. I hope they... And then I'm like, I'm probably that person. That's like what I sound like. I'm sure of it. I know that's how I sound when I'm singing.
No, but you know what we are going to do? We're going to take a belly dancing class.
Oh, I would love a belly dancing
class. Yeah, there's one.
class.
I just found one.
You did?
Yeah, we're going to do it.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have to post a little bit of video from that. Maybe that. All right, well, thanks everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed all of the information and get something out of this today. And we hope that you share it with somebody else that you feel could benefit. Like, share, subscribe, do all the things. We love you.
Take care.
Yeah, take care.